So hey everyone, happy Thursday. I want to call this an admin check-in. We've gotten a lot of new members over the last couple months, and just want to make sure that we kind of set up some ground rules for engaging in the group and just getting a better feel for like what the group is about and what we're trying to do and protect and continue grow within the group. And then a couple mindsets to think about as we're engaging within the group to help keep us amicable, I guess. We want to encourage a diversity of thought, and with that is going to be conflict and differences of opinion, and that's good. We want to essentially like get those in the forefront. Like let's see our differences. Because I do believe it's through our differences and our different ideas that as a group we will have new ideas as how to beat this cancer. I have to imagine that all of us are here because we want to beat cancer. So I think with 600 of us collectively working together, it's got to get us closer to actually finding a cure, finding appropriate preventative measures. Like I have to believe that all of us rowing in the same direction is going to get us closer to where we want to be. So with that, like number one, this group is intended to be different. Vanessa and I were frustrated with the negativity that was in some of the other groups, just the sadness that's in the groups. We just, that doesn't help. If you're fighting cancer, that doesn't help. If you want to know your options, it doesn't help. And in some cases, it would even make it worse, I would imagine. So beyond being neutral, it's, I would say, a negative effect on people fighting for their lives. So we were simply not okay with that. So we wanted this group to be different, and there's and we wanted our focus to be on the dialogue, the different modalities of fighting this, everything on the table. So and sharing of personal experiences. We found that as you're looking at a lot of the medical literature, so much of the individual patient experience is not captured, and the data often doesn't cover it adequately. So patients are left with severe side effects they didn't know about. They're left with treatments that didn't work. Like all of these things are generally known, but the impacts on the patient are severe, and we're here to help mitigate that. Our goal is to help women beat cancer. Not 5-year survival, not 10-year survival, not like how many more, like, yes, those are important. But our focus is on beating the cancer. And I have to imagine that in focusing on that all of those other metrics will improve as well. We're not promising miracles, obviously. Like the cancer industry hasn't been able to do this in the 70 years they've been studying this. So I acknowledge the undertaking that we're attempting to do, except that it doesn't change the incredibly personal nature of this, and it doesn't change our desire for fighting for what we should have, and that is a cure for cancer. So with that, how do we get that? And so number one is protection of free speech and freedom of expression. So as we look at like, well, let's look at COVID. How many doctors were sanctioned or had their license threatened or were otherwise silenced, censored for having valid concerns, right? Remdesivir, right? How many hospital policies killed patients, right? And that's a pretty staggering number if you dig into it. So freedom of speech is absolutely critical for us. Like we have to be able to speak freely about these things without censorship. Now, Facebook will censor us, so we need code words. But all topics are on the table, and your experiences are important. So we have to be able to bring the humanity back to the science. And I'll talk about that at a later video of how do I think we can do that. So that's a later video. But number one, protection of free speech and freedom of expression. Number two is protecting the vibe of the group. That I say it's number 2, but arguably it's tied with number 1. Like, we have to have a space where we can learn and grow our confidence, grow our strategies, get ideas, and support each other. So when I say support each other, let's acknowledge as well the messiness that is cancer. And that is, everyone has trauma from this. Everyone is incredibly emotional in one way or another from just where they are in this journey that none of us wanted to be a part of. So let's acknowledge that we have to protect the vibe. That doesn't mean like if you're sad about something or scared, that doesn't mean don't share it. But from a like, how do we support each other? Like, and that's prayers and hugs and being there for each other. That's helping with knowledge, growing confidence, all of these things that like grow peace, grow confidence, grow these intangibles, is what is incredibly important to us. I look at some of the other groups and I feel sad, I feel run down, I feel like my experience doesn't matter, and I'm not okay with that. So again, Vanessa and I started this group because my experience does matter. The research I've done does matter. My mom's life does matter, just like all of yours. And if something's not working, then I want more than just standard of care options to fight this beast. I want my mom to have those options to fight this beast. So just know that is what we're about, and that is what we're trying to do. And it is our job to protect the group. So like if we have negative Nancy's in there, like we have to be able to make sure that the group integrity stays intact. So with that, just know that like as people are engaging, I need all of us to understand that you don't understand. As you're engaging with other people, you will never understand their exact experience, where they are in this process, how they've experienced all of these bumps in the road to get us to where we are meeting at this point. And what that does is that helps us arrive at an interaction with compassion and empathy, because we don't understand. We're listening at this point, and we're not judging. So in our interactions, we should seek to understand, and we want to be careful about, and here's where the mental model comes in, as I personally like the drama stage mental model, where depending on where you are, your experience changes drastically in general interactions. If you look at actors on a stage and they're having an argument, there's back and forth, negative energy flying left and right. Okay, if that's you in an argument in a Facebook group, you're deciding whether you know it or not. You are expending energy towards something. That person is delivering energy towards you. You're in an exchange. If you find yourself in this back and forth, or even starting to get to that point, okay, I need you to acknowledge your role right now as an actor in this play. Take a step back and go sit in the audience. As a parent, I see my kids as they're arguing. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. At this point, I'm the observer, right? So you want to take a step back. I'm not in their drama. I'm taking a step back. I'm the observer, and like both of you two need to stop, right? You're just lobbing negativity at each other. Okay, so in the digital arena, that is another good strategy. Take a step back, be an audience member, be an observer, and from there, you often get peace for the clarity that you need to be able to assess the situation a little bit differently. So by becoming aware that you're in that situation, taking a step back, you now gain the peace that you need. The next step in that is, well, now that you're observing and you have a chance to like see that something's not right, or maybe you could do something about it, your next step is scriptwriter. And this group, for me, is an example of like that, where I'm in these groups, I'm getting I don't know, made fun of, like in the beginning. And I'm like, hey, what natural remedies are you guys doing? Oh, don't do those remedies. There's no science. Like, this is like all this, I get negativity being lobbed at me. I'm like, man, that just sucks. And then finally Vanessa and I connected and we're like, God, why does this suck so much? Why does it have to be this way? And we're like, no, it doesn't. So now we're observing. And then after a bit of observing, like we've got to do something. This is unacceptable. We've got to do something about this. So we started this group. So now at this point we're script writers, right? We're building the reality that we needed. The reality that, that she needed to heal, that hopefully the rest of you needed to heal and to fight, right? If you're in a state of high emotional energy discharging or whatever, like that's not a place of healing. It might be a place of survival. But let's do what we can to make that mental switch, take a step back and find that inner peace. So that you can get the clarity you need to find whatever the healing modalities are that you need. So I personally like that mental model. Okay, so let's see. Let me go back to my notes here. Sorry. Okay, so there's a number of questions that, like, as you're engaging, and I'm going to make, like, a little picture. So, like, if we start seeing things getting spicy, we need you guys to ask these questions. Now, the thing about these questions are probably one or two of them will stick with you, right? And that's the emotional connection that I want you to pay attention to. Like, there's probably an example that comes to mind. I'm going to say a question, and there's probably an example that comes to mind, like, yeah, I probably should have kept scrolling on that one. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so there's a number of questions, and we'll post it from time to time so that, like, as you're in that situation, probably one of these questions will ping and will apply to you, and that will help everyone just moderate their behavior, moderate their emotions, and help us keep the positivity that we need to maintain this healing environment. Okay, so a couple questions, right? Is this post for me? Right? One thing that we seem to have trouble with as a society is just this need to comment. If it elicits a negative energy response for you, like, again, from an empowerment standpoint of, like, I'm going to highlight the choices, the choice to keep scrolling, the choice to not engage, and this includes the comments, because sometimes I'll have a comment that's like 3 or 4 replies in, and then someone jumps in on this thread and starts dogging on me for something. It's like, well, I didn't ask you. Like, I didn't ask your opinion. Well, this person felt they needed to share their opinion and force their beliefs on me. Like, I'm not okay with that. So that's a personal example, but again, to protect the group, let's not have all that outside drama in this group. Okay, so is this post for me? Like, are you answering the original posters, the OP? Are you answering their question or providing something valuable? Or are you dogging on somebody else and jumping within a thread that they didn't ask your opinion? Let's see. So other ways we can tell, is this post for you? Like, was I tagged? Did I answer the OP's question? Was it buried within a thread and they didn't ask my opinion? And then ultimately, and this is my favorite one, it's like, well, how did I feel about this? So again, that awareness of, like, pay attention to your emotions and how you're engaging, how you're spending your energy. If you feel tense, if you feel anything other than peace and love and gratitude, like, then that's probably a signal to step away from the post. Are you assuming that your values are better or more right than the other person? Okay, like, this is not a group for us to, like, convert anyone to any other thought process or any other values or any other religion or any other, like, and I say religion, like, standard of care is a religion if you look at that, but if you are expecting others to assume your values, that is not welcome here. You come with your values, and that's good, but it crosses a line if you're starting to engage in a way that you expect others to have or adopt your values. What was the author's intent? Okay, and this is, again, as in an engagement, right, where we're talking about text messages and responses and all that, like that is an interaction with two people involved, right? And it is incumbent upon you to think about what the author's intent is. Let's start with that intent. Let's acknowledge that nobody here is trying to hurt anyone. Nobody here is like, we're all trying to fight cancer. Okay, and that's it, right? We're all trying to fight cancer, and we're all trying to deal with it in our own ways, right? So let's acknowledge the intent. So if you're getting upset about something, let's boil it back down to what do you really think the author's intent was in this post? And if you think it's negative, well, yeah, sure, go ahead and ask them. Hey, what is your intent? Ask them and get clarity, right? Hey, this post came off kind of judgmental. Was that intentional, or were you trying, like, what? Can you explain better or something? Like, there's ways that we can ask questions without then stooping to that level. Okay, so can you, as someone, distinguish between a poor choice of words and actual hate? Right, so again, how do we keep everyone in here in this very calm emotional state, acknowledging that, like, we're gonna have pangs, right? This is a very emotional topic, right? So let's not add to it where we don't have to. Okay, so like poor choice of words is going to happen. Everyone is going through shit right now. Sorry for my language. Okay, let's see, what else? Do you have, okay, are you emotionally triggered right now? So that's one of those, like, oh, I just need to post. I need to reply to this. Like, no, you don't. Honestly, no, you don't. You don't have to reply. So if you find yourself, like, feeling like you have to reply to something, well, I really need to correct this for the record or something, I really need to, like, then you are emotionally triggered. You have an individual responsibility to get yourself under control and engage with that person in a respectful way. Okay, let's see. Is your post going to be considered disrespectful to another member? So we have to keep that in mind and acknowledge that all of us have different definitions of respect. So we're not going to get it right. So again, if we're going to, like, we can't be walking around on eggshells all the time. Like, again, let's go back to our common ground, which is all of us are fighting cancer, and then move out from there. Okay, we can't get too caught up on what our personal definitions of respect are and how someone did or did not abide by that. Like, we don't care. Like, again, go to the other groups. If you want to do that, go do that in another group, but not here. Let's see. Did you include appropriate context or firsthand experience? Like, we got a lot of posts. We're just like, was this meaningful to you? How was this, soursop thing or mabob or whatever? Like, how was this meaningful to you? What did you gain from it? Let's add value to the group instead of just data bombing with a bunch of things that people don't really understand, don't have like a medical foundation to it or a clinical foundation with some type of study. If we're not going to have a clinical foundation to it, it better have some type of personal experience where you're adding that in. We simply don't have time to weed through a bunch of posts that just don't add value. Okay, let's see. Okay. Are you passing judgment towards another member? Like, oh, that's just wrong, right? That's just wrong, right? Like those thoughts that come into your head, that's an acknowledgement that you're probably triggered by something, and you have to do the work to figure out how your values fit into that, and acknowledge that there are going to be differences, and then realize that you don't have to correct anyone. You can just keep scrolling. Okay, did you ask questions? Like, if there's conflict, did you ask questions? Did you keep scrolling? That is my favorite one. I'm sorry I keep saying it. Okay, in some cases, if you want to state your opinion, like, hey, this is, in my experience, this was such and such. Okay, yeah, and then keep scrolling, right? Like, we have many options in this. Are you trying to prove you're right or correct someone? Are you projecting or injecting your own opinions into the interaction? Okay, this is going to come up with a political one, right? We're like, okay, someone made a statement and it means this, and that's like, no. Go back to the statement. What did they say? Okay, they said I support RFK. I don't know, whatever. But like, does that say that they're a Nazi? Does that say like no? It says that they support RFK, right? Like, so there's again that emotional triggering where we tend to project onto a situation things that are simply not appropriate for that situation. And often with that, right, there's often a negativity associated with that. So the so what on that is like, no, I don't want projections into the group. I don't want the negativity in there. And I don't want fear perpetuated where it doesn't need to be. Okay. So let's see. So that with that, okay. So my favorite ones again, keep scrolling, understand the author's intent, assume that your values are equal to theirs, right? We're not converting anyone. Is this post for me? And this is going to be probably some other stuff as we talk about controversial things. Is like if it doesn't resonate with you, that is fine. Go somewhere else, keep scrolling or whatever, right? Like if it's not like if you're responding to it negatively, then yes, go somewhere else like that. Okay, but we don't need to keep negativity. We don't like it. It's just not for you. Okay, and that's fine. Okay, so with that, again, admins have a duty to protect the vibe of the group. We're here to protect free speech, and we're here to protect the intent of the group, which is a support group, which has many functions. So with that, if I can say, I'm excited with the growth of the group. The admins have a couple of projects that we're working on. So if we're a little busy from the group as we're working on other projects, if I can get another video out on my project, I'd love to share it because I'm excited, and we'll go through that later. Okay, so empowerment. We have choices. We can engage. Let's take the best of this group and let's, again, find the synergy. Let's contribute and make the synergy that we need to heal. And I have to believe with 600 people in this group, we've got to be getting closer to finding a cure than the 70 years that the medical industry's had to bumble through their DNA theory. So that's all I'll say on that. But I'm so thankful to be a part of this group. I love where it's going. I love what we're doing. It is a lot. It is great, though. It's been incredibly rewarding to get to know the different people in this group. I'm very thankful for the friendships and the conversations that I've had. So I'll end this with gratitude and love, and that is thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this movement. Let's keep growing. So goodbye. Thank you.